Alright guys, welcome back to another tutorial. And today's tutorial I'll be showing you how to build this absolutely massive airport runway built to 1:5:1 scale. Now this is a runway that's based off of the Chicago Midway runway, the 31C and 13C, or is that 31 Center? 31, no, yeah, I think they say Center. So this airport runway is absolutely massive. I have 20 chunks loaded right now, and it's still not even covering up, like, what, I don't know, was this 5%, 10%-ish of the runway. So, quick dimensions for you before we get to the planes here and some more details. So this is 69 blocks wide. Nice. And this is almost 1,500 blocks long. Now, if I go into my text here, yep, 1,435 blocks long. Now, if you're gonna build this in your airport, just be wary of that because this is an absolutely massive runway. Because one thing is I've kind of figured that I should do one because no one really has done a proper scaled runway, or the ones that have done them, they're not for tutorials, they're not for like up to like see in detail on how they did them. So I decided to do that myself. So here we're gonna have we have 3 planes here. I'll explain them real quick. Now this plane is built by Dream Wanderer. It is a kind of a private plane, pretty small, about I don't know, 20 blocks wide or something like about that. Pretty neat. So and then here we have a Boeing 737 Max, right? Max 9? No, Max. No, Max 800 because the winglets over here. These 2 planes, by the way, are built by Aero Team on YouTube. Go check them out if you want to, because I am not a plane person. I suck at building planes. These guys are a lot better than me. All I did was pretty much just put the liveries on them, the Southwest, and then I'll show you here in a second the Qantas, or is that Qantas? Yeah, it's Qantas. Right. Yeah. So yeah. So here's how the runway is gonna fit the plane. It fits it pretty nicely. It fits it within the width of the runway. So it's pretty accurate to real life, as I did have like Google Maps and pictures to look at to see the scale to properly scale the runway. And then here we have a Boeing 777-9X, or is it dot? No, Boeing 777 Max 9, right? 9X or something like that. Massive, massive plane. This really shows the scale of these 2 planes in real life, because the size of that engine is the size of the Boeing 737's fuselage, which is pretty insane. Now, this is how it's gonna fit this Boeing 777. The wings will go off the. They're gonna. What's the word for it? They'll extend off the runway, or yeah, I guess by this amount, you can pretty much get a good, I guess, visual for how the plane would fit on the runway. If you want to build this plane, then that's how it's gonna fit. And yeah, pretty neat. This Qantas livery. Is that how you say it? Qantas, right? Qantas? Yeah, Qantas. I think. On the side, I kind of forgot what that says actually. Uh, something with the airline, but yeah, so pretty neat. And I think we can move on just to give you a good scale of things. This will take me a while. Oh boy, I really hope you guys will be making this with World Edit, because if you're doing this by hand, um, that is GG's. That is, yeah, good luck. So here we get to the middle part, essentially right here, and it just repeats itself. So when you have those 2 lines, it's going to repeat. You have 2 more lines, the touchdown, the 3 lines, and then, of course, the end of the runway. So let us begin on this tutorial. So let's begin here with this area. I really should know what this is called. I think this is like, no, I know what it's called actually. So I think if planes land here, it's like a stopping mechanism. If they go off the runway, this will stop them, I believe. I think. But yeah, something like that. So here, dimensions, right. Let's go down here. And again, this is 69 blocks wide going that way. And then from this block here, it's also 58 blocks wide for this part. For this, so essentially from this block of sandstone all the way to this block of sandstone, as you can see here, that is 58 blocks wide. Or is that long? Long. And then the red concrete symbolizes the 69 blocks wide. So from this block here all the way to this block. So, I want you to use/fill and just make that box the 69 by 58, right? Yeah, by 58. And then you're gonna come in. Once you've done that, use some polish andesite, and we're gonna actually come in 4 blocks. So, oh no, 5. Yeah, 4 blocks here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then you're gonna basically just break this block, and from here all the way to this corner, you're going to use your /fill and use andesite. So essentially, to better explain this, with this huge box of sandstone you've filled in, it's gonna like come in by 4 on each side. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. The only difference is on this side where it's not gonna do it by 4. It's gonna be doing it by 1. So the gap to the edge is 1, if that makes sense. So just to get a visual, I'm gonna get out here. So 4 blocks border essentially of sandstone, and then you have the middle is polished andesite, and the front of the runway is just 1 line of it, if that makes sense. I hope it does. Moving on. So you'll need some yellow concrete, and we're going to start off by, I think the easiest point is find the center. As painful as that is, come to the center, and we're going to go back a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks, and then you're going to place your 1 yellow concrete here. Let's see. Alright, so come back 2, and then go off 2 like this, and then keep doing that until you get to the edge, which should land you right here. It's gonna go across the border, and it's gonna land on the side right here like this, and do that for the other side. And once you have done that, now also be sure to pause the video if I'm going too fast, because, well, obviously I'm not building anything, I'm just kind of showing you the dimensions, and hopefully you guys can build it pretty nicely. So for this next one, the second arrow, we're going to come back a total of like, I think it's like 20 something blocks, but I'm going to recount it. So we're going to go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 blocks. And then you're going to place your yellow concrete. And then you're going to repeat the pattern going down here. This time it will not cross the border here. And it's going to stay basically just adjacent, right? Adjacent? Side by side to it. Now again, 25 blocks from, the gap is 25. So from here to all the way here, 25 blocks, and that is the gap. So I'm going to destroy all this. Okay. Now for the last one, we're going to try something different. We're going to go to this edge here. I'm going to come here. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 block gap from the edge to here. And then you're going to have 1 like this, or 2, and then going back off of it. Keep doing that until you get to the edge again, and it's going to stop adjacent or side by side to the edge. So it's going to be like that. And again, repeat for the other side. So again, 15 block gap from the edge. And that should have you this configuration like this. Now, once you have done that, we're going to come to the center. Oh, also, before we do that, so again, like I said earlier, get some light gray concrete and come to this block. So essentially just in front of the sandstone block. And you're going to basically just dig a block and then go to this side. Make sure you're in line with this side. Just go all the way down, I don't know, a few chunks, because I'm at 25 chunks, and, you know, obviously it's not even close to being, like, showing the whole runway. So, once you've done that, we're going to come in by 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and add a solid white line just all the way down. Use some world edit, or, you know, break the blocks and place it down, however you are doing this build. Same thing for the other side. it is a 4-block gap here to the side or to the edge. It's kind of a separator or a border between the middle part of the runway and then the side of the runway. So now we're gonna come here, go to the center again, as you can see here. We're going to, so the gap between, let's see, the center, like this block, okay, on the sandstone, as you can see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6 blocks, and then you have white concrete. So you have the gap of 6 blocks, white concrete, and then add 2 more, and then go back like this, add 3, go off, add 3, go off, add 3 in total, like this. And then repeat for the other side, and you'll have your first arrow. Alright, get rid of that. I think my frames are dropping because my mouse is not moving very quickly. But anyway, so here, we're going to have a 12 block gap from this block, the light gray concrete, from that block all the way to this block. We're going to have a 12 block gap, and then place your white concrete here. And then this is going to be 9 blocks wide, or wide? That should be like long, or yeah, just whatever. So 9 blocks of white concrete. Now once you get to here, oh, no, here, okay, you're going to have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 block gap. And then you have another block of white concrete. It's going to be 3 in total. And then go off again, 3, go off, 3, and then go off, 3. In total 4 times. So you have 4 sets of 3. Just like that. And repeat for this side. And you'll have your first arrow. Or your second arrow, my bad. Or no, your first full arrow, because that doesn't really count as a full arrow. It's just like just an arrow. So now, once you have that, we're going to come here, and the gap between this block and this block, or no, the gap between this block and this block would be a better way to say that. So 12 block gap from just here to here is a 12 block gap. Okay. Now again, it's going to be the same as that strip. So it should be 9 blocks wide. We're gonna, or wide or long, whatever. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 9 blocks. And then the same design as you have there. So you're going to have a 2 block gap here, and then 5 blocks to that block, if that makes sense. Oh no, I didn't point that out just now, that from here to here is 2 blocks, as you probably could guess, but yeah. So once you have those 3 arrows, we're going to come here again for the 4th arrow and 4th and final arrow, and it's going to be 12 block gap. Once again, you're going to start to see patterns between the gaps and the lengths of the lines here. I'm sure there's a proper word for this stuff, but I'm just saying, I'm just going to say lines because that makes sense. Yeah. So here, again, the same design as that and that arrow. 9 blocks, this white line is 9 blocks wide. Yeah, 9 blocks wide. And then the gap here is 2 blocks. And you'll have 3, 3, 3, and 3. The gap between this block and that block is 5 blocks. Okay, and then again repeat the same arrow design. Now, as we get to this beginning of the start of the runway, as I'm gonna call it, so we have from here a 15 block gap between there and this white line. So once you count out 15 blocks, you get to here, you'll stop, and then you have a white line that spans from either side, like so. Okay, and then once you have that, we're gonna find a. Actually, we're gonna start over here. That should be easier. So, or really, I think, how can I tell you how to do this? Let's see. Okay, we're gonna I recommend you having like this type of like line of blocks to show the gap, and then we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And on the 6th block, you're gonna come here, and then have a 4 block gap between like this block and that block, as you can see. And then you're gonna have the same arrow design. You're gonna have 3, then 3, and then So it's 4 sets of 3, okay, and then it connects like this essentially. So to better explain it, I hope, um, again, the gap between, like, so just have, when you have this arrow, you're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then obviously it's gonna be 6, and then on that 6th block, it's gonna, you're gonna count out, or you're gonna place some blocks. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, and then you're gonna place the arrow, if that makes any sense. So once, I think it's better if you see how it pans out. So if you have this arrow here, we're gonna have a gap of 8 blocks. So from here to here, it's going to be 8 blocks and have another arrow. And then once you build this arrow, you're going to have 3 blocks to, like, the gap between this line and this arrow is 3 blocks. And I guess if I could do this better, come to this edge, I guess, yeah, hold on, this is way better. So come to this, like, corner, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then, like, adjacent, I think, here, like this. It's easier to just like look at it and not have me explain it, because I'm not doing a good job of that. But I hope that clears it up a bit. 6 blocks from this edge, and then you have your first arrow, or this arrow, just to confirm things. And then of course it's gonna be 4 in total, so I'll just add those 2 on that side. And to get a better look at how that pans out, from the top, 1 block separating the gap between the arrow and the line, and then 8 blocks between these 2 arrows, or the middle of the arrows, right? And then 3 blocks from the line here at the base of this arrow. So, okay. Now I'm going to turn down my render distance. I'm going to turn that down because I think my game is starting to lag a bit. So, here, we can continue. So, at this line here, we're going to skip block, find the middle, of course. So from the middle, so from this block right here, it's a 37 block gap. So count out or build out 37 blocks. So from here again, all the way to here is where it stops, because that's where we're gonna add in this letter and the markings for the runway. So once you have 37 blocks, we're going to, I want you to keep this center line if you built it out, because it's going to be easier to explain this. So we're going to have this 5 blocks of gap here. So you'll have this line. You're going to have 2 blocks out, and then you're going to have your first marking for the runway, okay? Or actually, no, come to this side, this edge here, and like a block, and then you have your black concrete. And then these lines, these strips of lines, are going to be 28 blocks long. So from here all the way down to here is 28 blocks. And then you have 3 blocks of white concrete, and then a black line, and then a gap of 2 light gray concrete, and then a black line, and then a white concrete, and a black line, and 2 blocks gap. So you'll have 4 of these next to each other with a 2 blocks gap, and then a 5 block gap. As you can see what I did over there, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. And then again, your strips of white, your strips of lines, I guess how to explain that. So it's easier to see at this edge, it's a block gap, and then you do the 28 blocks of concrete, and of course fill it in, and that should give you this design. I did go through a few different designs for the multiple lines here, and this one just kind of panned out nicely, or a bit nicer than the rest. So again, to refresh, the gap between this line, so here, and then there is 28 blocks, or no, sorry, 37 blocks, and then these lines are 28 blocks long and 5 blocks wide here, and then the gap between like these 2 is 5 here. So once you have that, we can continue. And let's continue. So here, the markings. So 31 center, or 31C. I think it's center. I'm pretty sure it's center. So if you still have this line, I recommend building this stuff out. If you still have this line, so we're gonna come here, and it's gonna be 8 blocks, or sorry, it's gonna be 9 blocks wide. As you can see here, the 8 on this side, 8 on this side, and 1 here. So it's 9 in the center. And it's gonna be 2 blocks thick. So you're gonna have basically like this going across. So it's a 2 by 9. And then here, so from this block and then to the end of the letter, you have 31 blocks, or sorry, 13. Jeez, I gotta read. 13 blocks long from here to there. That is how long the letter is. Okay, and then here again, it is 2 blocks thick, and then you're gonna build out 2 more blocks, like thick. Okay, and then it's gonna be 9 blocks again, and then you're gonna have 1 extending. So it's gonna be like this here on the edge, a 2 by 3 versus like a 2 by 2 here. And that should give you this look. Again, to have a better look here. Yeah, this should give that look, and we can continue. So from this middle block here, we have a 3 block gap, and then you have like off this block. Oh, yeah, off this block, you're gonna have your 31. The marking here, or just 3 in this case. But so off this block, it's gonna be a 2 by 9 here. And then you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 2 by 5. So once you have the 2 by 5, you're going to have this contraption. So it's going to be this, essentially. This like shape. That is on this 2 by 5. You're going to have this shape of white concrete. And that should give you the design for the 3. And then, again, this end piece is on the 2 by 5, so add in those blocks, 2 by 5 here. And then again, from here to here is 9 blocks, as you can see. So do that, and you should have your 3. Okay. Once you have that, we're going to have a gap of 8 blocks. And then from this block to here is 8 blocks, and you're gonna have your number 1. So it's gonna start at the same block here, and then it's gonna be a 2 by, or well, I guess you don't actually need the dimensions for that because it's gonna be the same length, it's gonna be the same width as the 3. So again, 2 blocks wide, and then what's this? Just however long the 3 is here. So, and then here on the tip, it's gonna be a 2 by 3, just like so. I think my voice is going away from me because it is like 3 a.m. So hope it's not too bad. But again, let's continue. So once you have this 31 here, again, feel free to pause and rewind the video just so you can make sure everything is right. And yeah, so here I have this center block. As you can see here, the center line. We're going to have a gap of 8 blocks, and then you'll have this first strip of white. The center line, essentially, the center line is where it's going to start. So again, 8 block gap, and then you have white concrete in the center. It's 3 with a black line, and now this is 28 blocks long. This this line here, this dotted line. Okay, and then we'll come back to this later. This like detail for the black concrete powder as like a tire markings. So we'll come back to that in a second, or not in a second, but at the end of this video. So once you have this line, again, it's 5 blocks wide, 3 blocks which are white concrete, and then each side is black concrete. Okay, now it gets a bit easier from this point. So from the gap between each dotted line is 23 blocks, as you'll see here in a bit. So from this first line to that second line is 23 blocks, the gap here. And then, so we're going to find a random line here, and we're going to, or random line, a random spot, I mean, and this is like, so have your center line built out, and you're going to have a gap of 11 blocks. So here to here is 11 blocks, and you're going to have the same design, but except it's going to be a bit shorter. So you'll have, again, the black concrete, white concrete, black concrete, and it's going to start like, it's going to be here, if you can see how this works. So it's not going to overlap like this. It's going to be like this. Oh, can you even see that? No, like this. So yeah, and then I guess a better way to explain this is you're going to have 1 block gap to this line here. you'll have 3 of these. So again, 23 blocks long and 5 blocks wide with a gap of 1 between the 3 of these. So, and it's going to be on the same thing on this side. Um, it's a bit easier to see without this black here, but again, you have your line, or you'll have that here, and it's gonna like start here. These 3 dotted lines, or yeah, 3 dotted lines? No, 3 strips of lines, or yeah, something like that. So you'll have 3 there, and again, 23 blocks long and 5 blocks wide. So let's continue, and here again, have your 28 block gap, or sorry, 23 block gap from here to there, and this strip of line is 28 blocks long. So again, like I said before, you'll see a pattern between these, or some of these markings, the gaps and the widths and the length. You'll see a pattern here. So again, 28 blocks long. You have the same design, the three white concrete going across. Oh, going across, and then you have your black line on the edge. Okay, so again, 23 block gap from here to this line, 23 blocks, and then 28 blocks long for the line itself. The marking itself is 28 blocks long. So you'll have, so far you should have 3. So 1, 2, and 3, and then you'll have this touchdown marking. Okay. So the gap between this line and this line that separates this touchdown marking is again 23 blocks. And then find a random block here. And actually, let's do it this way. So, like I said before, that line is going to be like this. And then you'll have this marking, as you can see there, how it starts. No overlap. It's just like that. So a gap from this line is 1 block, and then you have 1 single strip of black concrete that is again the same length as the gap, so 23 blocks. Okay, and then this will be in total 17 blocks wide. So you'll have 1 block of concrete, then there should be 15 blocks of white concrete going across, and then 1 more block or 1 more line of black concrete here, as you can see. And then the gap between this line and the center line is 11 blocks. So should be easier to see that now if we start from the edge and then work our way up, or work our ways to the center. That's a bit easier. And we can continue. And again, I hope my voice is not, I feel like it's dying a little bit, because I'm starting to have a bit of a trouble. They keep saying the same thing over and over again, line, dot, or line, gap, and 28 blocks wide or long for this strip. Again, the same pattern, 28 blocks, and then you have a gap of 23 blocks, and then again add 1 more line here, and that'll be 28 blocks. Okay, and then once you get here, so let me come back. So after you built this touchdown, you'll have two more lines, or yeah, dashes. I'll say dashes, center lines. So again, the 28 blocks, 23 blocks, 28 blocks. So, okay, once we get here, so build out a gap again, 23 blocks from here to your next one. You'll have 23 blocks. So let's see, how can I go about this? So come to the edge here. You'll have 4 block gap from this line to this marking is it's 4 blocks, as you can see here. Okay, and then you'll have however long again the gap between these 2 lines. So you'll have, it's going to be 23 blocks long. These 2 markings here, 23 blocks, and then 3 blocks of white concrete. Same pattern, same design, and a gap of 2 blocks here. And then another one. So two lines here, 2 markings, and then the gap between this line, this black line, and then the center line is 13 blocks, as you can see here. So to go about that again, to explain it again. So the gap between this line and that line is 23 blocks. Then when you have this center line, the gap between the center line and this marking is 13 blocks. And then here, these two markings, there should be a gap of 4, as you can see here, and that should give you this design here. Yeah, yet again, I've kind of forgotten, or not forgot, I have not looked it up what this means, these two lines here. So, now, we have, we're basically done now. So, this is where it stops, essentially, the beginning of the runway. So, all the details here, it's just the middle. So, to better explain this, it's going to repeat after these 9 strips of the same pattern we've been doing. These 9, it's like this same center line here, the dotted lines, essentially. There's going to be 9 of them. So, and then once at the end of that line, we're going to have the same pattern that we did, like, beginning to start. So, like, this stuff, like these 2 lines here, these 2 markings, the touchdown marking and the beginning of the runway, is going to be at the end of these dotted lines, essentially. So, let me explain this. So here we have one more, or not one more, I guess, but we have another dotted line marking. So 28 blocks long. Again, the same pattern, same design. 3 blocks of white concrete in the center. Then each side is going to have black concrete or black line. So now, again, 9 of this. So you have the 28 blocks long for the marking, a gap of 23 blocks, then 28 blocks long, a gap of 23 blocks, 28 blocks long, a gap of 23 blocks. As you can see, the same pattern. So 9 of those. You gotta count this out with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and should be 9. Yeah, 9. I almost miscounted that, but I did not. So again, it is 3 a.m. right now. Yeah, just kind of trying to wing this out. So again, I'm gonna go through this a bit a bit quicker, because it's the same thing we've done over there on that side. So once you have this final dash of line, we're gonna come here again, have a 23 block gap, and then the gap between the center line and this first marking on this side is going to be 13 blocks here. So you have the 2 lines, the gap, it's going to be 2 blocks, and then the gap from this line, this the end line, I guess, and then this marking is 4 blocks, as you can see. Okay, let's see. Then you'll have 2 more of the lines here, again 28 blocks, and then a 23 block gap in between these 2 lines that are 28 blocks long, and then your touchdown here. The gap is 23 blocks again, and then from the center line to this black line is 11 blocks. So the touchdown itself is 17 blocks wide. It's going to have a gap to this edge by 1, essentially. Okay, now 2 more of those lines, and then you have these triple lines here, or triple markings. I go back and forth this entire video, but yeah. So again, 23 block gap between these 2 lines. You'll have 2 separating the touchdown marking and these triple lines. Gonna be 3 of them. Okay. The gap again to this edge is 1, and then 1 here again, and 1. Okay. It should look like this. Oh, like this. Okay. Then you have 1 more line, and then we're going to have a different number here, or really the same numbers, but they're just different. Oh, actually, same single numbers, but it's going to make a different big number. That sounds stupid. So again, here we have a 8 block gap from here to this number. Looking at it from the front or the back, it doesn't really matter, I guess. But looking at it from this view, we have like adjacent to this, right? Have your 2 by 9 here, and then you're gonna have 2 more, okay, and then you have this a 3, and a 3, and then a 3 and a 3. So I explained that better that time, I think. A better explanation as to how this should look here. And then again, you'll have so this will be like a 2 by 5 essentially. So from from here as a 2 by 5. Okay, so let me see how wide it actually is. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 blocks length, or yeah. So just to give you another confirmation on if you're doing this right. Um, okay, so the gap between this three, so this side is 13 center, while that side is 31 center. It's flip-flopped in real life. I don't know why that is. I think it's just like help pilots, like when they come in from each side, they want to have like a marking for us. So they want to know like which side is which. Pretty simple, I think. But here, this gap is 7 blocks from this 3 and this 1 is 7 blocks here. And then you'll have on this tip, it's going to be a 2 by 3, just to give you that, just to see that it's a 1 essentially. So now the gap between center line, or the gap between these two symbols, or this number and this letter, is 3 blocks here. And then you'll have your this 2 by 9 again, and you have 2 here, and then you'll have from this 2 by 9 you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Again, this is actually 13 blocks in total for the length, but just to try and help explain this a bit better, and it should look like this. Okay, the gap between these two like 2 by 3s is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that should give you 13, or yeah, 13 center here. Now, you could rewind to the end of this video to repeat it, but I'm gonna just keep continuing on to this point only. So we have a 8 block gap from this C, and then these 8 lines here, 8 block gap. So you have a center line here, and you'll have a gap of 2, or really a gap of 5 between each side, as you can see there. Okay, and then again, 28 blocks long for the lines, the strips, the markings, whatever. A gap of 2 in between. Yep, gap of 2, and this edge should be a gap of 1. Come to this side, it's going to be a gap of 1, like this. Just to like, I think it's better if you start from like this end, although maybe you won't. Maybe it's not, because you'd have built this stuff first and not this, so you won't have this like line here to give it better, a better reference. So once you have those lines built out, these 8 lines here, you're gonna have a gap of 1, then your center line, and then this line of white concrete here. So that is your runway. I recommend going back to the beginning of this video, because this part is the same thing. You have your arrows here. You'll have 4 more arrows going back, and then you'll have this system here that I'm pretty sure that this is what is used to stop the planes from going off the sides of the runway. That is not even, it's not really concrete. It's like some like metal, or it's like some material that like stops the wheels and stuff. But here at the first line here, we're gonna come in front of it by so start from the center and make this, what is this? I think 8 blocks, right? Yeah, 8 blocks? No. 9 blocks. No, yes. No, 7 blocks, sorry. 7 blocks wide for this first, like, layer, I guess. Okay. And then you're gonna have, like, you're gonna go off like this, so it's gonna be like 1 and 2, or it's gonna be 2 here, essentially. Once you have this single, like, line here. My frames are dropping, man. What is this? Okay, so I think they're dropping. I don't know. But so you have this line here, then you have 2, and then you'll have 9 blocks. So it's gonna be like this. It's gonna have 2, then 9 blocks. Okay. Then you're gonna have 10 blocks here, as you can see. Then here you're gonna have 11 blocks. So this counts as, so here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, yeah, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It stops here, as you can see. To better see it, actually, it stops like here. You can't see it with stuff I have in place. But yeah, it stops here. So you have, what did I say? I said, what is that, 7? Yeah, I think, yeah, hold on, 7, right? No, is that 9? I've already forgotten. This is 9, yeah, this is, so it's, okay, so you have, 1, 2, 9, uh, 8, and then 11 here. So, then here, one more, you have 12 blocks, as you can probably, as you can see here. And then you're gonna come out again, like this, and you're gonna go all the way down to, let's see, uh, all the way down to these two lines here. It's gonna stop, like, it's gonna, so come here, essentially, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like this, if you can see how that works, or I guess 7, that's where it stops, on the 7th block, okay? And then you'll have 12 blocks. Then come in again, 12, no, sorry, 10 blocks. Come in again, 9 blocks. Come in again, 8 blocks. Come in one more time, or 2 more times, I guess, 7 blocks. And then 6 blocks. And then here you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you kind of just, it should connect to this line here. To this, the first line, or the second line that starts the middle of the runway. So, I think that is done. That is everything for this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you guys like this design, and I hope this did not take too long. I don't know how long this tutorial is so far, but I suspect it's going to be, I mean, this took me like a few hours to do by itself, as I've explained in a Maple Valley update video. I'm pretty sure I've explained that. That took me like hours to just get this done, because even with WordLedit, even with the slash fill, it still takes a long time to do this. So let's have a look at the planes one more time, and then we'll end the tutorial. So here again, the Boeing 777. This is how it will look once you finish the runway. It just looks, this looks so cool, though. I mean, this looks just so epic. I think just like, look at this front view. That is just crazy. Or no, look at this view actually. If you go to like, if you go from like here to there, that's just crazy. So yeah, that is it for the tutorial. Hope you guys like this design, and I'll see you guys on the next one. See ya.